Plaintiff Patricia Ruffner says she and the defendant were both part of the same senior organization, and the defendant was the president of the organization when they met. Patricia claims the defendant agreed to buy her piano for $3,000, but to date, she's only paid $2,000, so Patricia is suing for the balance due. Defendant Doris Tellis says the senior group that she and Patricia were a part of started going downhill after some of the con artists in the group drove out the good people. Doris insists she paid Patricia in full, but has yet to receive the piano, so she's suing for a refund and emotional distress.
Start with you.
I first met Doris in the beginning of I guess it was January 1912.
You sure?
I like that. That was a good year. 2012.
I don't think you met her. Oh, 2012.
You can't tell. You couldn't tell. You couldn't tell I'm nervous, could you?
Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. I thought you were a little mature, and I thought you looked young to be so mature, but I didn't think you were over 100.
That's not good.
And she would have to be over 100
She'd have to
too.
be 100 too.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, let's get back.
2012, you all met.
2012 is what I meant. Right, and at the time she was president of our senior organization, which was newly formed, and we were trying to find ways to keep it going. And one of our ways was to have a nice yard sale, which we did. Doris had generously offered her house to have it on. And it was all well and good. In the beginning, everything sounded fine, except we started hearing some little, like a small town of 3,500.
Y'all started gossiping.
Yeah, little things.
Little
Little
things.
things.
Gossip about the woman. What
Yeah.
did you hear?
Anyway, first she said we could have the yard sale outside of her fenced yard, which was pretty good size. Then she realized we couldn't do that. We had to have it inside. It was too close to the road, and blah, 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 which we complied with. We were grateful to have a place to have a yard sale. Anyway, once we got inside, she also informed us that we couldn't use the bathroom. And we're looking at long days, and we're a group of seniors. And she told us, I said, where shall we go? She said, find yourself a tree. And
You sure? I don't believe she said.
so we did. We found trees.
You found.
Not true. Someone home, because it was about a 6 or 7 mile drive home, and they said, I'm not coming back if we can't use the bathroom. Stupid Pat said, well, I'll find a tree. So I found a little dirt road, and I found a tree, and luckily, or I should say unluckily, husband and wife or girlfriend and boyfriend were walking down the road, and they caught me. They knew what I was doing.
I am
They
not
knew
saying a
what I
word.
was. They knew what I was
Don't
doing.
get me in trouble with all these seniors that watch my show.
We won't.
I ain't saying nothing fun, nothing disrespectful, nothing that can be interpreted wrong.
Right. Next thing, talking to Doris, I told her I had a piano that was for sale, and she sounded interested. It was a player. You could either pump it by foot, or you could play it by the rolls, everything. I said, this will be a bargain and a half, because I paid $10,600 for, which I have the receipt for. And I said, I'm selling the piano for, if you want the pictures of the piano, I'm selling it in perfect condition, never got played, for $3,000.
Mm-hmm.
So she agreed to it, and she said she would buy it for $3,000. Right.
Plaintiff Patricia Ruffner agreed to sell the defendant a piano for $3,000, but the defendant has only paid off $2,000, so she's suing for the balance due.
Let me allow her to give some background, then we'll get into the specifics.
Okay, fine.
Ma'am?
I just want to state, as far as the background goes, the reason why I wouldn't allow them in my home during the garage sale was because my dogs were locked in the home. I have a Great Dane Doberman. Your whole head can fit in his mouth. And that was the only way I could protect the dogs and protect everybody else.
Okay.
So I met Pat. We were in Idlewild. We were part of a startup group for a senior center. We wanted to establish one in Idlewild that would serve our community. As the group grew, it started having more fundraisers and having a lot of more cash flowing through their hands. And I did not feel the accounting was being taken care of properly as far as our money goes. I have a structured background. I retired as a Chief Yeoman, United States Coast Guard, and my period of service is in excess of 33 years. So I am structured. and I expected a full accounting of the money. I felt that there was an inner core of people in the group that were becoming con artists. And they managed to push out a lot of the honest people in the initial group.
Con artist household, what were they doing? Give me an example of the scams.
They would collect money and it would never go to our treasurer.
Okay, that ain't con artist.
Well, they would...
That's thief.
Yeah.
All right. I hope that's not the case. I don't really believe that, but go ahead.
Well, then Pat became very comfortable with them. She felt comfortable with what they were doing. And she did offer to sell her piano to me.
All right, let me get to her on that because she's suing about that. Ma'am, the piano, why don't you tell me the details, the agreement, and what happened after the agreement?
Okay, the agreement was for $3,000. She gave me her first check January 15th for $500.
Was there a due date? When was it to be completed?
No, because we never thought about anything like this coming to this kind of an ending. And she gave me 4 checks, one in June, one in February, one in April, and one in January was the first one. So I got $2,000, which we have here.
500 each. You want me to take a look there?
Right. Now that was back in 2012. Hadn't heard much from her. Maybe had one visit, maybe the June payment was made in person, and maybe one other visit from her. And she started talking to me about, talking down to me as if I was senile and that she's already paid for this piano. And I said, Doris, you still owe me $1,000. That's when she offered to bring me copies of the checks. Those checks were a little in advance, but she brought me 4 copies. She says, Doris, this is only 4 copies. You still owe me $1,000. Oh, no, I don't owe you anything. I had to change accounts. I had to like I was going to get confused, which when it comes to money, sometimes I get confused. When it comes to money, I don't.
That's right. That's right. I have a failing memory, but in that area, I do not.
Not in that area.
Anybody who knows me, they'll tell you that.
Not in that area, right.
Try to play on my memory.
So my memory machine.
Wrong area to play.
So meanwhile, originally she had told me she had to pay in small increments. She was helping her mother buy an electric car. And then another time, I think she told some other story, but there was always a story why she didn't pay off that $1,000. And then it got to the point where she felt she had already paid.
Plaintiff Patricia Ruffner agreed to sell the defendant a piano for $3,000. But the defendant has only paid off $2,000. So she's suing for the balance due.
When is the last time you all spoke about it?
Well, probably a year ago, I'd say.
And what was the nature of that conversation? Same thing? I've paid you.
Well, the thing was, she'd send me registered letters, which I have here, which had nothing to do with anything.
What is the essence of them?
Giving me reasons why.
During my last
Reasons
visit
that made no sense. Go ahead.
During my last visit to your home, you told me that you planned to give the piano I bought from you to your daughter. I agreed to this, providing that you reimbursed me for all the money I had paid for the piano. As of today, you have not return my money. Please inform me in writing as to when you plan to return my money. Let me hear from you.
I did. I can prove I made 4 payments. I made numerous trips to her home asking about the piano. Our initial agreement was that I would buy it on payments. I get the piano the way you buy a car or a house. She never gave me the piano. She has the piano. She has $2,000 that I can prove she has. Plus, I gave her an additional 4 checks through the confusion. And so
Same account?
No, they were different accounts. And some might have been from this account.
You gotta do better than that. I have proof of the 4, so
Yes.
so far I can give you credit for 4 checks, and you sounded unsure.
No, I know I wrote them and gave them to her. She saves her money sometimes by saving her checks. She has told me this in the past. She
But you
doesn't
would-
cash them.
Didn't you get these back as cashed?
Yes,
Wouldn't you have gotten the others back as cashed?
if she had cashed them.
Okay, so you still have that money in the account.
Yes.
Okay, so you haven't paid her that
No, but
because it's still in your account.
I don't have the piano either.
Right, but let's not say that you paid her something that you didn't. You only paid her the amount of money that she cashed.
Yes, sir.
The checks that she didn't cash, you still have.
No,
You still have the money, yes.
I have the money, yes.
That's what we're talking
But she
about.
was given the checks.
Yeah, but
She didn't cash them.
you can stop those checks so that she's never able to cash them, but you can't say you've paid her and get credit for payment because it has not come from your account.
No, I don't want credit for those. I just want,
$2,000 back because you didn't get a piano.
I do want another 1,000 for pain and suffering and the
How did you
hassle
suffer?
we've had.
How did you suffer?
She's been telling people I don't pay when that's not the case
Okay,
at
you
all.
have evidence of that?
Well, she's doing it right now.
Okay. And if we want to get technical about it, you haven't paid because she hasn't cashed the checks. So it hasn't been paid.
And I never got the piano, so I don't have that either.
What do you think of that?
I think she ought to stand by her original agreement. She ought to
And pay the
me
additional
$1,000 and she will get the piano. She came and looked at how easily it could be moved, and it can be for $200 bucks.
Okay. All right, ma'am, I'm going to grant her judgment. So I'm going to order you to pay her the other $1,000, and then I'm going to order her to give you the piano in exchange. That's my judgment, and your claim is dismissed for the refund and the emotional distress because she wants to stick to the original agreement. It's her option to stick to the original agreement. Judgment for the plaintiff, your claim is dismissed. Once you get the piano to her, you get the paper.
Thank you.